Alright guys, Paul back here again with a brand new video. A little bit of an exciting one to do this time. I get asked this question a lot and I figured the easiest way to go about answering it would be in video form. And that is, what are the top 5 replica belts currently sold by WWE? Before we get into this list, I will go through a few parameters for this list. I am talking about belts currently sold on WWEShop as of the 26th of March 2021. These are standard replica belts, so metal plates, simulated leather, plastic stones, no signature series, no legacy belts. This is the bog standard base replicas that most of us will be going for. This is also only belts that are currently sold, so near the top of this list would have been things like the Master Series Winged Eagle, the Master Series Intercontinental, or the 2004 Andre the Giant heavyweight belt. All those belts were made years and years ago, and they were some of the best replicas WWE have ever produced. Unfortunately, they're no longer available, so I'm sticking to belts that are currently sold. But yeah, it's my opinion. I'm just trying to give my recommendations of what I think are some really good quality belts to people that are wanting some advice. And one last thing I should mention, the criteria I'm kind of judging these as the best belts, the less good belts, is more so like the accuracy of the design compared to what was on TV, the detail like achieved in the plates, the level of depth, the etching, how the details show up on the belt when you look at it, and that's pretty much it. So just accuracy and detail really, so it's a pretty simple list. Right, as far as honourable mentions go, there's a lot of belts I couldn't include on this. I'll just rattle off a few. The women's tag belt. The first time I saw it, I was actually blown away with how impressive the details on it. For a belt that's kind of lower tier that not many people are going to be buying, it was one that was far more impressive than I expected. So I'd put the women's tag belt as a honourable mention. Similarly, the 2019 Intercontinental belt, very good replica. I'm just not a big fan. It's a little bit bland in my opinion, and these 5 belts I'm going to talk about definitely better than that. Similarly, the 24/7 belt is a very impressive replica. It looks really good. It matches the belt on TV really nicely, but again, 24/7 belt, does anyone really care? The penny tags, the SmackDown and Raw current tags, really good replicas, but again, it's the tag belts, so does anyone really care? So really, I do recommend all 4 of those different belts. They're all really good quality belts, but as far as the 5 best belts currently sold by WWEShop, let's go. Okay, number 5, and you might off the bat think I'm cheating by including 2 belts here. Classic IC. I think I can get away with this. I should say though that most of this is leaning towards the white network logo IC, and that is simply for one reason. That's kind of my 5th pick rather than this, and that's because the classic belt does feature the WW logo. And if you remember my criteria I mentioned, I'm judging these on TV accuracy and level of detail. Level on detail of both of these is outstanding, but unfortunately the accuracy of that logo is taking it down a couple pegs, I guess. It's not something that personally bothers me, but I know from reading the forums, reading Facebook groups, reading comments, that a lot of people do not like that block WW logo. So I figured I would include them both just to kind of cover all bases, but for accuracy that's probably the better one. But I mean, it's the classic IC, so I'm including that as well. So number 5, the classic Intercontinental. Right, number 4, and I do love an Intercontinental belt, don't I? A lot of people probably won't agree with this one actually. This is a 2019 remake of the Oval IC, and I gotta be honest, it is one of my favourite replica belts I own. I think it is one of the best quality replica belts WWE have ever produced. The detail on the plates is outstanding. The stones look really good for being plastic stones. The curve on this belt is really good for such a small belt as well, and the plates are 5mm thick. The detail's really deep. Even the simulated strap, for being a simulated strap, it looks really good. It's got all the detail imprinted onto it. And yeah, genuinely, the 2019 Oval Intercontinental is a belt I recommend above most other ones, and it is number 4 in my ranking of the top 5 current WWEShop replica belts. Okay, number 3, and I'm going for the Brahma Bow replica belt, and this is a little bit of a shame, I'll be honest, because I think this thing is outstanding. This is honestly one of the best replica belts WWE have ever produced, and it would probably make the top of this list if it had the WWF logo. That is literally the only downside to this belt. And for me personally, it's not a downside, but I've seen people online complaining that they're not going to get this belt simply because the belt that was supposed to be used on TV had the WWF logo, and this one has the WWE logo. So unfortunately that is a downside just because of accuracy. And I should mention, for those that don't know, this belt was originally going to be used on TV. It was made as a counterpart for the Smoking Skull belt for The Rock, and I actually can't remember what the true story is, but the official story by WWE is that this was lost in the post by FedEx when it was being sent to be used on TV. I don't think that was true, but I can't quite remember at the moment. But yeah, outstanding belt. I recommend it so highly, but I know if I put this as number 1, people would complain because it has the WWE logo, so I have to put it number 3. But really, that 3D bowl is ridiculous. The curve on these plates, ridiculous. Even the nice kind of imitation suede backing is a lovely touch. A properly outstanding replica belt. Even the strap, it doesn't have the stitching, which is always a plus. Really, just an outstanding replica. I cannot recommend this one enough. One of my favorites in my collection, easily. Right, number 1 and number 2. For anyone that follows me or watches my videos, you kind of already know what 2 belts these are, and picking number 1 and picking number 2 was very difficult. But okay, for number 2, the second best belt currently sold on WWEShop, yeah, it is the Undisputed version 2, the 2020 remake of the Undisputed version 2. And a part of me really wants to put this as number 1. You could probably put number 1 and number 2 as tied, to be honest. I love both these belts, but this thing is outstanding, honestly. It is incredible. The detail achieved on this is top tier. It doesn't get better than this on a single layer replica belt. No chance. I have a full review of this belt on the channel, as well as a comparison between this 2020 remake and a 2003, I think it was, Figures Inc. 2mm replica belt. So the comparison between this and the old version of this replica belt is night and day, and I can't recommend this thing enough. The detail on the plates, like I said, is insane. The curve is absolute insanity. Like, that is beyond like impressive on replica belts. The plates are all really detailed. Even the simulated strap looks really good, to be honest. I was blown away with this belt when I first received it, and honestly, it's still outstanding. Like, genuinely, it is a properly top tier replica. If anyone is even considering buying one of these, you're not going to regret it at all. I recommend this probably above any other replica belt because it's probably a more popular design than my number 1 choice, but number 1. And it could only be, it is the 2020, the current WWE United States replica belt. I mean, a lot of people probably would have predicted this would be my number 1, and it's rightly so. It is the most impressive, most detailed belt WWE, I think, have ever produced. The level of detail on the center plate alone is crazy. Like, these plates are insane. The eagle detail, the lettering detail, the stars, everything is top tier. I cannot tell you how, like, it doesn't get better as far as replica belt quality than this. The strap's pretty shit, but that's to be expected for standard replica belts. But the plates honestly blow me away. When I look at this, it is absolutely outstanding, and I can't recommend this belt enough. Yeah, I don't know how much more there is to say. This US belt it's not my favorite design. I prefer the Undisputed V2. I love the Undisputed V2. It's probably my 3rd or 2nd favorite belt design ever. But I can't lie, this thing is just, look at that, that's ridiculous. Look, crazy looking belt. Like, if you haven't seen one of these in person, I definitely recommend you pick one up. If you're even slightly interested in one, pick it up. It's a really good belt. Wait till Mania, actually, they might have a sale going on, we'll see. But yeah, that's my top 5 replica belts currently sold by WWEShop. It's the end of March, so no doubt they will release a handful of new replica belts for WrestleMania, and this list will be completely irrelevant in about 10 days' time. Sweet. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was informative. I know I didn't go into very much detail on all the belts, but I have detailed reviews of each of these replicas on my channel. So if you want to know more about each belt, you want to see each belt kind of taken apart, the plates unscrewed, what's underneath them, how the belts are put together, check out the individual videos on my channel. But I hope this was useful or informative. That being said, thank you for watching. Cheers.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP. And if you want to get one of the greatest belts made for you, go to Paulmartinbelts. That's right, sucker.